Hi, it's Judge Pottage here on Wednesday the 20th of July. Just going to be looking at the weekend's action, so I'll be looking at Judge's weekend verdicts. So I've got a couple of horses for you to be looking at for the weekend, trying to get on at the best value prices leading up to the races themselves. So I normally like to start looking for the weekend ahead racing on a Monday. So what I'd like to do is see what's entered, obviously what the prices are of the front end of the market in particular, to see if there's anything worth taking on at the front end of the market. Anything in my tracker, the weather forecast, because that can be important, although I don't really trust them so much, but at least gives you an idea roughly where the week's going to be going, and then just see roughly what's the wrong price. So I like to do it on a Monday, and then we get to sort of Wednesday, Thursdays when we get down to when to put a bet on. And anyway, so the first one I'm looking at was the 240 at York. Well, Fresh is the favourite for this race and has been the favourite obviously on Monday, but it's also entered in the 3 o'clock at Ascot, so obviously it'd have to be a super horse to run in both. So we know it's not going to run in one of those, so there is an angle straight away that you've got the favourite, actually favourite for both races, one to take on perhaps. And then you look around, what else is at the front end of the market? And I noticed that Mondamedge is 12 to 1. Well, I like to look at last year's race because I think it's pretty much a good guide to the form for the following year, or to see if there's anything that's unexposed. But obviously you get these big handicaps. There's not always that many that get in that are that unexposed, especially the sprint handicaps. And I was looking at Mondamedge, like I say, and that's 12 to 1. It was well beaten in this race last year by Venturas and Music Society, and it's nearly a stone worse off with, well, it's a stone worse off with Music Society and £11 worse off with Ventura. So I thought that was not necessarily the greatest value at 12s, even though it does look a slightly better horse this year. Not always got the best York form either, and being at York, that's something I like to look at. So my selection for this race, which I've actually already mentioned, I like the chances here of Music Society. I did mention it in Judge's Duels on Monday, but I do like the fact this horse is running here off a mark of 80. It came second in the race last year off a mark of 86. It was only 15 to 2 to win the race. It's 25 to 1 available out there with quite a few bookmakers, 4 places. It isn't jocked up, so if that's not, you want to be a little bit more conservative with your anti-post bets. Sometimes you've got to take a chance and think, well, that's a good value price. Sometimes you think, well, I don't think it'll run there. I like to see, obviously, if it's got any other entries. So looking at Music Society's entries for the coming week, you can see straight away that it's only got the one entry for the week. So for me, I do think this will be the one it's most likely running if it does run anything at all. And at 25 to 1, I would like to have a small each way bet on that now. And then with a view, obviously, tomorrow after 10:30, you get the 48-hour decks. The fields get whittled down a bit, and then obviously it's up to you if you then want to start looking at the extra place options that are available. But right now I think Music Society's got an excellent chance if he was to turn up for the 240 at York, the Sky Bet Dash handicap. Interestingly, Venturas, if he was to turn up here, he's around 20 to 1. He's an interesting selection, but for me, at the prices and at the weights, Music Society would be my selection for that one. Anyway, on to the 3 o'clock at Ascot, which once again, like I say, another big heritage handicap. I was looking overnight on Monday. Jumbie was favourite for this, and this is going to be that horse's third big handicap run in 3 weeks. Now I thought that would be some effort for that to do that, so I thought that possibly be one to have taken on. But obviously we have Fresh at the front end of the market. Perhaps it's more likely to run at York, looking at the way the betting's going. And then I'm looking around. I thought Dark Shift was obviously very interesting, but that's now gone to favouritism. Obviously, it's got excellent Ascot form and won the Royal Hunt Cup, which form has had several francs since. I certainly wouldn't put anyone off that. But as to backing it now for the race on Saturday, I certainly would rather wait for the extra place terms if they're available to back a horse like that. I think there's a horse here that just definitely at the wrong price. It's also jocked up, so I think it's very likely to turn up. It's got a decent Ascot record. The horse is called Tactical, and there's 14 to 1 available out there for 4 places, 12 to 1 5 places. I think this rates Nat material actually over the weekend. It's also another horse I put up on Judge's Duels in one of my earlier episodes. It ran in a Group 2 last time out, which was outclassed. But if you look, it's running the Buckingham Palace 2 runs back. He was drawn on the wrong side and came 6th at Inver Park. The prices that day, the horse was with the 17 to 2 chances, is 14 to 1. And yet running against horses like Chief of Chiefs and Inver Park are all round, and Ropey Guest all round about the same price. That day he was half the price, if not a lot shorter than all of those. And I think if he had been on the right side of the track, I think he would have possibly have won the race. And I think this horse can only shorten in price. So for me, it's tactical in the 3 o'clock, the Moe and Shandan International Stakes Handicap. So that's 2 for you, 2 for judges of weekend verdicts, and 2 for you to get your teeth into for this weekend. Be lucky all.